Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's talk about biodegradation of chlorinated solvents and other such related compounds. These compounds can be hard to biodegrade as well due to their structures. So let's see what these compounds are. Now, chlorinated solvents are amongst the most prevalent organic compounds, contaminants in the groundwater. Why so? Because these are so widely used in so many different commercial processes. The chlorinated aliphatic hydrocarbons, also known as CEH, and other related compounds, they mostly contain 1 to 2 carbon atoms and 1 to 6 chlorine atoms. So that's why these are called chlorinated hydrocarbons, chlorinated solvents. Now, CH with 2 carbon atoms can be saturated, or those can be unsaturated as well. In case of saturated, those are generally called as ethanes, and in case of unsaturated, those are generally called as ethenes. Now, these are much widely used for cleansing purposes, for the cleaning of clothes, engines, electronic parts, and other items which are contaminated with grease and other such things. So, उनकी cleansing जो है वो इन solvents से बड़ी ज़्यादा अच्छी होती है. So that's why these are widely used, and their use is superior as compared to other alternate hydrocarbons because of the reasons that these are not combustible, these are not explosive as such as compared to many other hydrocarbons. So इस वजह से भी इनका use जो है वो ज़्यादा है for different purposes, including the cleansing of the grease. Now, this table here shows major chlorinated aliphatic hydrocarbon compounds. You can see here we have methanes, ethanes, and ethenes along with the formula and acronym, and whether these can be used as primary substrates as aerobic donor or anaerobic acceptor as well. You can see here different types of compounds can behave differently as primary substrate. Moreover, whether these compounds can be co-metabolized under aerobic or anaerobic condition. You can see here many of these can be co-metabolized. So if you talk about methanes, you can see here we have dichloromethane and chloromethane, which can act as primary substrate and can be aerobic donor. In case of dichloromethane, it can also be anaerobic donor as well. These can be co-metabolized both under aerobic and anaerobic condition, except for carbon tetrachloride, which cannot be or is not known to co-metabolize under aerobic conditions. In case of ethanes, you can see here again the dichloroethane, chloroethane, these can act as aerobic donors, and dichloroethane can also act as anaerobic donor, and all of these can be co-metabolized both under aerobic and anaerobic conditions. We discussed previously as well that different chemical compounds and toxicants which cannot be degraded individually or as a primary substrates, but many of these can be co-metabolized and therefore ultimately degraded. So you can see here this is an ideal example that these compounds, these are not acting as primary substrate, but these can be co-metabolized when the organisms are using some other compound as primary substrate. In case of ethenes, you can see here again most of these are not known to act as aerobic donor, but these last two can act as anaerobic donor, and many of these can also act as anaerobic acceptor as well, and many of these can also be co-metabolized. So depending on what type of chlorinated aliphatic hydrocarbon contaminant is there, different types of microbes will act upon these compounds under aerobic or anaerobic conditions, and different types of reactions can take place, whether as primary substrate or whether through co-metabolism, ultimately leading to the biodegradation of these compounds. This was about the biodegradation of chlorinated solvents. I will talk more about this topic in our next lesson.